Romika Design. And if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logo designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romikadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and would be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romikadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romikadesigns.com.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Accelerated Graphics and Signs, 101 East Renfro, Sweet C in Burleson, Texas, can handle all of your graphic needs. Need a banner or promotional products for your business? They got you covered. T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Sweet C in Burleson, Texas, go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They are loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. One of my ears is kind of clogged up and I can't hear myself. All right. Good evening. Welcome to No Judgment here. I am your host, Tish Ross. Tonight, we are talking about homelessness and how my guest tonight is on a mission to serve God by serving the homeless population. You know, I was reading on, kind of Googling as I was preparing for this evening's show, I noticed that there was a release from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that was released in 2021, I believe. But the report shows that on a single night in 2021, more than 326,000 people were experiencing sheltered homelessness in the United States. This represents an 8% decrease between 2021 and 2020 and 2021. However, when COVID hit, I believe that number spiked. I want you to meet my guest, Korey Wilkerson. I had the privilege, the honor rather, in meeting him and hearing his story about the fantastic thing that he is doing. If you guys don't know, if you haven't read some of the notes that we've shared, he has started a mission, a single man ministry, but along with obviously those people that have helped and donated. It's called Socks That Rock. And Korey is here to tell us a little bit about himself, about how he grew up, how this started, and what his goals are. I like I said, I had the honor of hearing his story, and you guys are in for a treat tonight. Korey also brought Doris, in, and Doris may be able to help us a little bit with some things that she has seen Korey do and his son do. There's so much to this story, and so Doris, feel free to chime in at any time. So welcome, guys. Korey, I want you to go ahead and get started. This platform is yours, and if anyone that is listening, if you are able to share this story on your social media, that would be fantastic. This would really help Korey out. We are trying to get the word out to as many people as we can so that they can become familiar with his ministry. Korey, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Tish. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for the introduction. So a little bit about me is I'm born and raised in Texas. I've lived in Texas my entire life. I've never lived anywhere else. I was born out in West Texas in Odessa. I remember growing up out there as a kid, all the way up into about the first grade. I remember really hot summers out in Odessa and chasing horn toads as a kid. And I remember taking them into my grandma's house, and she always hated it because one or two of them would get loose in the house, and she never really liked that very much. But as a kid, it was fascinating to me. Kind of bounced around went from West Texas all the way over to East Texas, over into Longview. Lived out in Longview for a while, my mom and dad, and then we ended up over in Haltom City, which I still refer to it as Fort Worth, and that's where I kind of grew up a little bit. Is over in Haltom City for the most part. Ended up going to middle school in Haltom, and then we moved out to Burleson actually in 1996, I believe. And I went to high school out here for a couple years, and then I begged my mom to move back to Haltom to graduate from Haltom, and she was reluctant to do so, but she let me do it, and I moved back in with a buddy of mine and his parents, and I was able to finish school and graduate at Haltom High back in 1998. I know that's dating me now, but but graduated from there, and from there straight out of high school, I went into the Army. And went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Was going to be a 91 Bravo, which is a medical specialist, but God had other plans, and it didn't work out for me, unfortunately. So came back home, kind of regrouped. But when I got back home, there was something wrong, and I had lost a ton of weight. I was just not feeling myself, and I actually developed type 1 diabetes in 1998. So anyways, with that being said, fought through that, kind of got through that. And then I went off to college in Waco, Texas, at TSTC, and got my computer science degree, and, came back home and kind of just started living life. And then fast forward a little bit to when I was 33 years old, I was blessed with a son. My one and only son, Ethan. He's 8 years old now, and he is my heart and my world. And he's the reason why I do many things, amongst many things, and including this. So anyways, I'll kind of get to the meat and potatoes, and I'll kind of tell you a little bit about how I got started with Socks That Rock. So for years, I've always had a soft spot for the homeless community. The area that I live in, it seems to be that there's a lot of people in that area that are homeless, and so I was around them a lot, and I would go up, and if I had like extra food or whatever, like I would hand it out to them. I would get to know them. I actually met a couple people a few years back, and I knew them by name, and like I would. If I saw them on the street, I'd stop and I'd go talk to them. We'd have a little conversation and everything.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what do you think it was? I mean, even before Socks That Rock came into fruition or even was an idea, what do you think it was that drew you into, wanting to talk to someone, wanting to acknowledge someone's existence like that? I mean, some people, not all, but some people are frightened to walk up to someone that might be homeless. And I understand that there are some mental illnesses, disabilities, things like that sometimes may make someone a little bit weary of walking up to somebody. But what was it for you that just gave you so much confidence and comfort?
Absolutely. It's a good question. I've honestly just been a helpful person. One of my top love language actually is acts of service. And I think that's just what has driven me in the past. But also when we were younger, I was never homeless, but we struggled a lot. I've lived in trailer parks. I lived in apartments. I know what it's like to struggle, maybe not to that extent, but pretty close on the brink of it, even in adulthood. So I know for a fact that's just me wanting to do acts of service for people. It's just rewarding to me.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what drove me.
Okay.
Yeah. But oftentimes I would find myself, I'd overextend myself, handing out too much money that I don't really have, but I just, I felt for them. So, not to make a long story longer, I'll kind of give you the cliff notes. And so this kind of leads up to it. So bear with me. So in the past, I dealt with really, really just crippling depression, anxiety, and I masked that with a substance, alcohol. That was the only thing that I could use to mask the pain. So with that being said, it ultimately made things much, much worse because it seemed like it helped at the time, but after it wore off, things were just 10 times as bad, and it was just masking it. And I got to the point to where I couldn't even function anymore, and I had to use alcohol. And so I reached out. I realized I needed help, so I actually went into a 30-day residential facility. And they got me straightened back up. They gave me some tools to use. They gave me a roadmap for, success for sobriety, and got me on some meds with the doctors and stuff like that for the depression and anxiety. When I got out, things were working. Things were going pretty good. But probably about, 20, 25 days, sometime in the middle of April, the wheels kind of came off and I kind of started spiraling out of control again. I was right back in the thick of things. Didn't know what to do. And so I just wasn't in a good mind state. And I went to social media and I made a post, and the post was intended to help explain to people, like, if you have friends that you think are struggling, don't be afraid to talk to them. They need you. Go talk to them. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Even if they shoo you off, at least talk to them.
And I love that you're sharing this, because especially with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, of course, every single day, it's not just May, but the focus of May is mental health awareness. I'm so appreciative and grateful. Like we were chatting earlier, that when someone is vulnerable, it almost helps someone realize, or maybe even admit or become self-aware that, hey, I had that problem too, and maybe make them feel more comfortable, confident, that they're not alone. And so I so appreciate you sharing this portion of your story, because then again, you never know who's listening. Maybe someone that's listening is not able to help with the ministry or their foundation, but you may have just sparked something within them that's making them think, you know what, maybe I need to go and reach out and get some help. And men are, women are very much, we share all the feelings, and I'm sure that sometimes men are like, please, it's enough. But we are more likely, I guess, to express ourselves and share how we're feeling. Whereas sometimes men, not all, but some men are less likely to share. So I really appreciate you sharing. So, but you said that the wheels came off and you were starting to spiral back down again.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was at, and I was experiencing just daily thoughts of suicide, and that was difficult to cope with. I mean, it was a dark time for me back then. But at the time, I was attending a church, but it was a mega church, and I didn't feel connected in there. I mean, I could go in there, I could have went in there, 8 Sundays in a row, and I probably wouldn't have seen the same person twice. It was such a big church, and so it just didn't feel like home to me. So back to the Instagram post. So I posted this video, and like I say, I had an intention for it, but at some point I broke down in the video, and I was distraught, obviously upset, and only had the video up for probably about an hour or so. And then I started thinking about it and getting self-conscious, and I was like, oh, I need to take that down. And so I took it down, but it was only up for an hour, like I said. And by some slim margin, a buddy of mine, Nate Adamson, who I hadn't talked to since high school at that point in 1997, just happened to see that video, and he actually reached out to me, and he messaged me, and he was basically asking, hey, what's going on? Is there anything I can do to help? He's like, I don't know what your church situation is. If you go to church or whatever, even if you don't go to church, you're more than welcome to meet me at church. And so I thought about it, and I was desperate at the time, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll meet you. And so I decided to meet Nate and his wife Dina at church that Sunday at Pathway here in Burleson. And
wow. Okay, I'm going to stop for just a second, because you created that post, and it was on social media, and you took it down after an hour after it was posted. And thank God that the right person saw it. I love Nate, by the way. I know Nate and his wife, Dina, and they're such amazing people. So if you're listening, Nate, we love you, and Dina. But just the right person, that's all God, that the right person saw the post, because God knew you were going to take it down. So he had the right person in place. And I'm so grateful to you for saying yes to come, going to church and to attend church, because there are a lot of, and rightly so, people that maybe have had bad experiences in church and all that. But I'm just so grateful that you said yes, you agreed to go. And so you met Nate and Dina at Pathway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing how it happened. Like, it's looking back on it, it's so amazing how it happened. But like, I'm forever thankful for that day that Nate reached out. For whatever reason that I posted that, I'm thankful that God guided me, in the right direction. But nothing changed for me that day. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't just change on a dime and my whole life was, better. But it was a turning point in my life that I can look back on and point to and say, yeah, that's when my life started to take a turn. Mm-hmm. I still experienced many ups and downs since then, but it ultimately took a turn. But I believe that friend, with his gesture that day, in that moment, he saved my life. I mean,
it's okay. I know it's I think when God uses us, people, just like he's using you to help those that, gosh, a lot of people, again, are afraid to help, or they just don't know how to help. But your gifts, and God is using the gifts that he has given you to help those people that, again, a lot of people are frightened or fearful or don't know how to help. And just like Nate, God used Nate, the right eyes saw it, Nate reached out, and because he did see the post and because he did reach out, like you said, ultimately saved your life. Before we continue, Korey, you're a one loved man. You have a lot of people listening, watching, commenting, and I want to tell those people that are listening and posting comments that we so appreciate your comments, because a lot of times we have listeners on here and they don't always have a lot to say, but Korey, you, and that's fine. But Korey, you are loved. I'm just going to kind of read some of these. Of course, your mom, Paula Wilkerson, she says, I'm here. Raina Harris Wynn, she says, good evening. Pam Vaughn, good evening. Braden Wilkerson says, so proud to see how far you've gotten. I love you, Uncle. That is so sweet. A lot of other listeners listening. Pam Vaughn says, that's great. That's a great act of service. That your mom says you have a heart of gold. Pam Vaughn says, God is good. And he is using you in big ways, even right now on this radio show. And that is so, so true. I think people that listen may not hear what we are on here to talk about, but even in those little moments or the little bit brief sharing that you shared, they heard something, and thank God you're here, and thank God you've agreed to come on and be vulnerable. So I do, again, I appreciate it, and I agree with everyone that is listening and commenting, how proud they are of you and how much they love you. So awesome, Korey. So I'm so glad you're here. So you said that, and I'm sorry I interrupt, but you said that Nate essentially saved your life.
Yeah. I mean, it was a moment that I'll never forget. And I've told him several times I'll never, be able to repay him for that, and he obviously doesn't expect repayment, but that wasn't why he did it.
Exactly.
But enough about me. Let's get to the reason why everybody's here listening. And, I do have a heart of gold. My mom raised me, so she has to know, right? I'm sure she didn't say that when I was a kid, though. But, so after I went to Pathway for the first time, and I was going there for a little bit, Nate asked me one week. He said, "Hey, would you want to go help us serve at the night shelter?"
Mm-hmm.
And I had never done anything like that.
Explain what the night shelter.
So the Presbyterian Night Shelter, which is in downtown Fort Worth, over it's off, I think it's Lancaster,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember the cross street. But anyways, it's basically a shelter. I guess if you're struggling on the streets, you can go in the morning and sign up, and they can only accept so many people because it's only, I think it's like maybe like 300-400 people or something.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong about that, but anyways, you sign up in the morning, and then you're able to go back there. You're able to go, I believe they serve lunch, but we went for dinner. We would serve dinner.
Okay.
So we would go in there, and there's like 4 or 5 of us on the serving line, and we would just each have a job, and people would come through, and we're serving them.
So can I ask you, how did you feel walking into the homeless shelter? How did you? I mean, you obviously have such a great gift, act of service, and you've chatted with people. Homeless people on the streets. How did you feel walking into the homeless shelter?
When I first walked in, I was overwhelmed. There were so many just homeless people in the halls, and just waiting to be served. And I was just like, wow, I cannot believe there's this many homeless people in one area. Mm. So, anyways, it was overwhelming at first. Mm-hmm. But as I got comfortable serving, as we're serving food and stuff like that, I would stop, talk to them in the line, hey, how's it going? What's your name? How's your day going? Just make them laugh, make them smile, just make them forget about being homeless for a minute,
mm-hmm.
just feeling a part of something. And it's that was the most rewarding part of it for me personally. But the time goes by so fast. I mean, we served probably over 300 people in like a 2-hour span. Wow. I mean, just so many people coming through there, all people from different backgrounds, nationalities. Mm-hmm. I mean, homelessness, it's not prejudiced. It
Right.
could happen to anybody at any
Right.
time. There's people that are one paycheck away from being homeless.
Absolutely.
I've been there.
Mhm.
And I'm not bragging about that, but it could be anybody at any point.
Yes.
And it's scary, you know. So I agreed, I agreed to go down there with him. It was awesome. It was very, very rewarding to me to go down there and help the people come through the line. And the thing is, they're the heroes. They come through and they're struggling and they're not giving up. They're, they may not be where they want to be in life right at that moment, but they're not giving up. And that's inspiring to me. And that in turn also makes me want to reach out more and try to help, where I can, when I can.
Absolutely.
And then, just like I say, make them laugh or smile. And in my opinion, a smile is the greatest expression that a human being possesses.
Mm-hmm.
A smile says so much.
It does. And I think even the fact that, you're acknowledging them, you're having a conversation. I mean, they're human beings, just like you and I, and just like you said, we are all could possibly be a paycheck away, especially with with COVID, how it's affected so many people, so many businesses, small businesses that have gone under, unfortunately. And something that you shared with me during our pre-interview, you said that there was someone that you approached, and you may be sharing this story later, but that you approached at, I think, a gas station, or you were going to give them food, and you said his name, and I think you said his name was Rick, if I can remember, if I'm recalling correctly, and that he lit up, and that touched you so much because he was acknowledged, his existence was acknowledged. You said his name, and you said that is what really that really moved you as well, the expression on his face.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a gentleman named Rick. There was a little story about that gentleman at the gas station. There was another gentleman named Kurt that I had met probably 6 years ago when I was living at some apartments near the same place he's been in, the same area he's been in for like the last 6 years. I met him and I got his name, and I would see him from time to time, and I'd go there and chat with him for like 10 minutes. I've given him a pair of shoes out of my car before. I've given him food from the Dollar Tree. I've given him a little cash. He was all bit up one day from bugs. I gave him a first aid kit. We really started talking, and he had struggled really bad with alcohol, and he really wanted to get off of it. And I was trying to, at the time, help him to do that. And he was doing okay for a while, but long story short, I stopped about a week ago. I saw two guys laying on a sidewalk one morning, and I had a little Whataburger left over, so I was going to give them a pair of socks each, and then food. And I walked up, and I gave him the socks. I just said, "Hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah." And I was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And he's like, "Kurt." And I looked at him, and I was like, "Oh, I know you." And he's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Korey." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know you." I didn't recognize him because he didn't have his glasses on or his hat. And he had been out there 6 more years, and I did not recognize him. He just looked so rough. And as I drove off, it broke my heart, but I just knew how blessed I was to be in the position to be able to help people and be in the position to have a car, to have food, to have an apartment to go home to. And when I get those moments, like I think about those people for the rest of the day, like I can't get them off my mind. And it's a blessing and a curse, but I would rather have it than not have it.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of where that was. But as far as like the night shelter goes and stuff like that was really a big part of my my life as far as serving and stuff like that. And then, as we all know, in 2020, what happened? Tragedy struck with COVID, and everything was shut down. So all my service work was done for a very, very long time, and it affected very, very many aspects of my life, like in many different ways. It really affected me.
In what ways?
The depression came back, the anxiety. A lot of that could have been from being locked inside an apartment.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But not having an outlet and being able to help people really hurt me. It really did. Anyways, but that's kind of how I came up with the idea. So earlier this year, I was brainstorming. I was like, what can I do for service? Because we're still not back at the night shelter yet. We're supposed to go back the 26th, I believe, is what Nate said, but we're still not back there yet. So I was like, how can I help people? What can I do? And so I started brainstorming, and I just came up with this idea. If you depending on what website you go to, one of the most sought after items in a shelter is going to be socks. That is one of the highest ranked things that they ask for. So I was like, well, what if I take a pair of socks and I load it up with
Okay, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to talk about what you load up in those socks.
All right, sounds good.
You guys will be right back.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they've got you covered.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson in Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
All right, guys, we are back. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 days a year on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The Joco Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more is brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-839-4245. Again, that's 844-839-4245. If you guys have any questions, I was going to say, or love to share. A lot of you guys are sharing a lot of love, and that's awesome. Keep it coming. If you have questions and you want to post them in the thread, I can certainly ask Korey those questions. Or if you'd like to call and chat with him, let me give you that number. That number is 817-637-2585. Again, 817-637-2585. Sorry, I'm reading from a distance and my vision's horrible. But if you have comments or questions and you want to post them in the threads, you can, and I will certainly ask Korey the question for you. All right, we're going to go back, and we started before the commercial break. We were talking about how this idea came, and that you were trying to think about what you could do, what you could give, and you thought of socks.
Yep. So thought of the pair of socks, but I was thinking more than that. I was like, what else can I do besides just the socks? So I came up with this idea. They're out on the street. They don't have access to a lot of things. So I thought about why not get some hygiene stuff, some travel size hygiene stuff, such as, soap, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste. Even now we're getting into summertime, aloe vera, sunblock, bug spray. And so that's what I did. I started getting those together, and then like a little snack, like granola bar or crackers or whatever. And I just basically load the socks up, fold them up just like a pair of socks would be. And when I'm out and about and I see people with signs or on the corner or wherever, I'll pull over and talk to them and ask them, hey, I've got these socks, got some supplies in there with a snack. Would you like one? I don't ever force it on them. I just ask them, would you like one? And 99.9% of the people say yes. And so most of them are very thankful. They're kind of thrown off at first, like, what the heck is this guy doing? What's in here? They're apprehensive, if you will. So we've got some colorful socks donated, which I would much rather hand these out. But from what I've read, a lot of the homeless people would like just plain white socks. And I don't know what the reason is, but so I'm just kind of going off what I read on the websites and stuff as far as that goes. And I'll also I have a little business card made up. On the front, it's got my information with the donation stuff, but on the back is what's important. It has the Presbyterian Night Shelter's address and phone number, and then an MHMR facility with a phone number and address.
And so is that in the socks?
Yep. I just got them in. So the previous socks we loaded up don't have them, but I'm going to go back and put them in, and then anything going out new will have the card in there. So they may know where to get help. They may not. And maybe they'll see this card and maybe they'll think, maybe they'll wake up one morning and see the card and say, okay, I need help. And maybe that'll change their life. Maybe they'll use the hygiene products. They'll get cleaned up one day and they'll go after that job that they've always been scared to go after because they're like, maybe I don't feel clean, or, I feel like I smell or whatever the reason is. Maybe they'll use it. Maybe they'll go for that interview. Maybe they'll get that job. And once they get that job, maybe they save up. Maybe they get an apartment. Maybe they get off the street. Maybe they get a car. Maybe they start the second chapter of their life. That's just a small goal, short-term goal that I have.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there because that is so amazing. I want to ask Doris. So as Korey is sharing all of this, he had shared we had a pre-interview, as I always pre-interview my guests. And as we were talking, I don't know that I was feeling, because I was really trying to get to know him, but I don't know that I was feeling as emotional as I am right now, because looking at you as you're sharing and talking about the pair of socks, what you put in, and then you have these steps, like maybe they're hungry, maybe they need to get a shower, maybe they can go to an interview, they feel better about themselves because they're clean, maybe they'll get a job, and I'm getting chills as I'm thinking about everything that you just said, and it makes me emotional. So I want to ask you, how does it make you feel that Korey is on this mission? And you want to kind of move up to the microphone.
Yes. I am super proud. I've told them many times, one of the things that I've noticed whenever, we met about 1.5 years ago, right away, we're in the car. And like you said, there's a lot of homeless people, more so in the area. So he would just pull, the window down and either give them money or food. And I will admit that I was always a little skeptic, because you just don't know, who's out there. I'd rather give him food than money, but he was always just no hesitation whatsoever. And I've never seen it in, just live like that in person.
Yes.
And the way he talks, his passion, whenever he came up with this, at first I was just like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I loved his execution of it. He didn't waste any time. He was right on it. He's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. The next day he already making a list and just pretty much doing every process, the Facebook page, the cards, talking to his friends. Thankfully, he's got really a lot of nice, good friends that was helping him.
Mhm.
So it was very touching and admirable. Like it made me, just a believer, I guess you can say, in a way. I'm from Peru, and I've seen poverty. I've seen it over there. It's different.
Mhm.
You see people out there. I grew up in Peru. I was 10 years when I moved here.
Okay.
So yeah, I've seen it where people are just in the streets and mothers selling whatever they can. So to come here and also see that, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that it just kind of brought me again to. It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's
and
incredible.
especially that it's a gift and a passion
Yes.
when a
Mhm.
person without hesitation starts coming up with all these plans, and then starts, like you said, executing them, and that's their gift, and that
Right.
is their
I
their
love
calling.
that about him. It's because passion is just so special
Mhm.
when you have it, and then because you just feel their heart. So that was, I mean, among other stuff that I just love about him. That was one of the biggest things, because I just, the kindness of it. We need it so much right
Yes.
now. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I tell him almost every day how proud I am of him.
Oh,
So
that is wonderful. Well, thank
I'm
you. Thank you
surprised I
for
didn't cry.
sharing. I mean, that's so awesome.
Mhm.
So we had a listener say, the homeless population is so full of all kinds of backgrounds. If you truly step back and think, we are all one step away from being homeless. There are many circumstances that could put anyone out there. And then Tiffany says, so true. Most have mental health challenges that are not addressed. We need state mental health funding back. And then, as you were sharing all that you were, Pam says, wow, what a beautiful soul. Ashley Weaver says, such a big heart. And Ashley, thank you for sending those stars to the show. We so appreciate your comments. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I really, actually, Korey, this is the most interaction that one of my shows have had in a while. And so you just bring goodness to everybody. So I appreciate you.
That's awesome.
So I'll let you continue. Sorry, I wanted to get some of Doris's input as well, and I so appreciate you coming and being so supportive. So go ahead. You mentioned that you have a Facebook page, and for those of you that are listening, that Facebook page is called Socks That Rock. Go and like it, follow it, share it. It's got a lot of great information on it. Correct?
Yeah, it's at Socks That Rock 2022. If you put that in the search bar, it'll pull it right up. But it's how I kind of came up with the name Socks That Rock. So obviously socks. Hello. That one hit me right in between the eyes. But then I'm also an avid rock and roll and heavy metal fan. So rock, I mean, it fits. So Socks That Rock. And so it fits my personality. When you hear the Socks That Rock, you don't really know, well, what is this about? Is this guy giving away like colorful socks, or like what's the deal?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that because I get to tell my story. I get to tell my version of it and tell you what it means. You don't have to figure it out for yourself. So that was cool. And then the logo, one of Ethan's family members, Joni Shaw Smith of Thirsty Cat Photography. She's an amazing graphics artist, and she's taken pictures of Ethan and I in the past and just done a beautiful job.
And Ethan is?
He's my son, my 8-year-old son. Mm-hmm. And she, I asked her, I was like, could you design us a logo? And she said, well, what do you want? And I kind of gave her a few ideas, and she ran with it and came up with this logo. And it's just this amazing, beautiful logo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool. How much do I owe you for it? And she's like, you don't owe me anything for it. I'm going to donate it to your cause. And like when she said that, I mean, that just blew me away, because it just got us started. And had the logo, had the idea, had the Facebook page now I could publish. And so we got started on March 14th of this year, and we launched our page on the 28th. On the 31st of March, we had our first donation, $50 cash donation, and I was just like,
wow,
$50! Oh my goodness! And by the end of April, we had already raised over $350, had numerous goods donations from several different people. Everybody was just chipping in. I was just so shocked and happy about it. But anyways, there was a point where we had 7 days in a row with at least one donation. And then there was one day in there, we had 4 donations in one day. My phone was like blowing up, like going crazy. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, this thing is taking off, you know? And it was just a great feeling. I'm waiting for that first anonymous donation. I've had donations from family, friends, acquaintances, and do not get me wrong, I love those donations. They mean the world to me. They mean the world to the people that these things are going out to. But I think once that happens, it's going to be real. I mean, I'm going to be like, need to buckle my seatbelt because this thing's about to take off. And if you go to our page, you can see the support. That's what I like to do is I like to shout the people out that do the donations. I always ask them if it's okay if I do that first, because I don't want anybody to want to be anonymous and then me shout them out. I don't do it to humble brag or brag or anything like that. I just feel like they deserve some recognition for doing something good for the community. And then it also builds excitement and on the page of all of this, and it gets more people involved and wanting to donate as well. Real quick, I'll just go over some of our goals. Main goal is to raise awareness about the homeless situation. I know people see it every day, and every city. I'm more in touch with Fort Worth just because that's where I live at, and I see it day in and day out. I mean, it's just running rampant, but I just want to build awareness. I know that there's people out there that are skeptical of some people, and I get that. And some people that I hand this stuff out to, I'm like, isn't, but it's not it's not for me to decide. I give, and they do what they will with it. And then, I move on. And then at some point, medium-sized goal, basically, I would love to have an event at one of the shelters, like one of the night shelters, possibly Presbyterian night shelter, to hand out as many packages as I possibly can as my inventory will allow for it. To do that, I'll have to have a pretty big push because I'm assuming I'll probably need 500 to 600 pairs of socks filled with stuff, because it would be a lot. Because when you hand out stuff down there on Lancaster, the lines get really, really long. My dream goal, which is attainable, I want to turn this into a nonprofit organization, a legit nonprofit organization with a board of members, employees. But the kicker is what I would love to happen is that some of these people that I meet along the way, I would love to employ them, take them off the street, employ them, give them a legit job, good paying job, hopefully with health insurance, and get them an apartment, housing, like I was talking about earlier, get them a car or start a second chapter of their life. And in the meantime, while I'm handing this stuff out, I just want them to feel like they're human again.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that vision that you have. And, someone that would be great to talk to, there's a lady at Crazy 8 Ministries, and she started that. Like, she has a few little duplexes or apartments. I'm not exactly sure. So, but she houses women and their children until these women can get a job, get off their feet, and then move out and move into their own place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, if we can help, if I can document one story of being able to help one person to get off the street,
I know that would mean the world to you.
To get off the street, get them a job, get an apartment, and just know what it's like to be a part of society again and feel that again. That would be, this whole foundation would be worth it at that point for me. Don't get me wrong, my goal is much bigger than that. I would love to help every person off the street, and but I'm going to start with today, and I'm starting with that first person. And so once that happens, it'll go from there. During doing all this, one of the greatest rewards I've received so far is some of the impressions I've made on my son and my nephew. Not talking about Matthew McConaughey impressions. All right. I'm talking about, lifelong impressions. My son Ethan is he's 8 years old, and he came over one day, and he saw all the supplies out in my living room, and I had all these different soaps, toothpaste, toothbrush, all this stuff, and he was just asking, what is that stuff? And so I told him, I said, it's so how when sometimes we stop and we see a homeless person, we give them food or we try to help them. This stuff is for some of the homeless people. And he's like, well, like what for? I was like, to help them get clean, this, that, and the other. And he's like, well, how do they take showers? And I was like, well, I said they can take the soap, and if they go to the shelter, they can do it there. Or maybe if they're somewhere at a park with the water fountain, they just use the water from there. They just have to use what they have to use right now while they're homeless, but we at least give them a way to get clean. And he was understanding all of it. And he's like, how will you get the stuff in the socks? And so I explained it to him. And then I asked him a question. I said, do you want to see how we get the stuff in the socks? And would you want to help me put these together tomorrow? And he was excited about it. And he said, yes. And that was early Saturday. And the rest of the day is all I heard from him is, when are we going to put these together? When are we going to put these together? When are we going to put these together?
Aww.
And it's so awesome. I was just like, all these little questions from this little future philanthropist.
Exactly.
And so Sunday morning rolled around, and he woke up, and his first question he asked when he got out of bed was, Dad, can we skip church? No, he didn't say that, but he said that before. He said, are we going to put these packages together, or these socks together? And I said, yep, when we get back from church, we'll come back, we'll do it. So we went to church, we came back, and we started getting to work. So I kind of told him, how I wanted to do it, like lay the socks out, make sure every pair of socks has, every piece, to go with it. And so the cool thing was, I showed him how to do it, and he was doing it my way for a minute, and I saw his brain working, and he's like, okay, I could do this faster. And so he'd get a pair of socks, and he'd grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the pieces, boom, put them out, lay them out, and he'd go back and do the same thing. And he started working faster. So he was working definitely smarter than harder. And I was like, well, I guess he's gonna be smarter than me. So smarter than I. So anyways, that was, and I have pictures on the site and the video of him helping us out on our page, and it's really, really cool. But the most rewarding thing is when I was taking him home that evening, we were walking downstairs, and he stopped midway down the stairs, just dead stop. And we had been done with those socks for well over 4 or 5 hours. And he just turned to me and he said,
it's okay.
He said, Dad, said, next time I come over,
take your time. I know.
Said, next time that I come over, can we drive around and find some of these homeless people and hand these socks out to them? And when he said that, it melted me, and
I can tell it's still it so
real.
touches your heart. Yes.
And it was I just told him, I said, you're an amazing kid, amazing boy. Don't ever change. And so that was that. And so one other quick part I want to talk about, my nephew Braden is 19 years old. He recently moved to Arizona, and he saw my page, and he reached out to me, and he said, hey, I would like to do something like that. Out here in Arizona, there's a lot of homeless people, and I would like to do something like that, but I don't want to copy you. And I told him, I said, I don't mind if you copy me. I would much rather you copy me, because I know how to do this. I know what supplies you need. It would be easier for me to teach you how to do this versus like something completely different than what I'm doing. And so he recently got a little promotion at his job. And so his hours are a little different than mine, but we're going to set aside some time and talk about how to get him up and going. And hopefully by the beginning of this summer, we'll have the Arizona chapter of Socks That Rock going.
Wow. So. Oh my goodness. What great men you guys have in your family. So amazing. So how can everybody that's listening, again, this is not about us, definitely not about me. It's about helping others and also helping Korey share his gift, use the gift that God has given him. And so the more that you can go and like this Facebook page, Socks That Rock, and share it, and or even donate some of these items, or even monetarily, however you can help. You have such an amazing giving heart, and that's true. Your heart is a heart of gold. And the fact that you are making an impact on your family members, that they want to go and do this. I mean, your son, so excited, wanting to put these socks and things together and then go and pass them out. And now you have your nephew who wants to start a chapter in another state. That's so awesome. So how can we help? What's some of the information that we can share?
So all the links are on our Facebook page, which the Facebook page is at Socks That Rock 2022. And all these links will be in the show notes after the show as well. But the Venmo, if you want to donate through Venmo, it's at Socks That Rock 22. And then if you want to do Zelle, it's just our email address, which is socksthatrock2022@gmail.com. I know it's confusing. It even confuses me when I started looking at it, but I'm willing to pick up any donation you have. There'll also be a link for an Amazon wish list that you can go on there, and you can pick some goods if you want to donate goods, and it'll ship them directly to me. And then just leave a note of your name, and if you mind if I shout you out or not, just say yes or no. That way I know who sent the goods. If you want to be anonymous, that's fine as well, but I would like to shout you out if you don't mind. Really, in closing, I basically just want to say that this project is, even though I came up with it, it's much bigger than me, and without God, it would not be possible. And God is much, much bigger than this and me. And but I feel in my heart of hearts, this is just something I was called to do. But if you can even if you can't donate, you're not in a place to donate, please share the page. That's just like a donation. It is a donation. But anyways, help me change some lives. And I want everybody out there to remember that you are enough. Okay. Just remember that. And thank you so much for listening tonight. And thank you, Tish, for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, everybody.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And we still have a couple of minutes, and I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
Well, also before I ask you, that if you think that donating $1 isn't going to do anything, it does. I mean, so many people think that they have to donate a lot of money, 10, 20, 25, 50, $100. You don't. The single dollars add up. I mean, if everyone that was listening donated $1, do you know how much money, that we could give to this ministry and all the people's lives that you could start to change? And something that someone posted on here is that you're changing lives, Korey, as you're sharing right now. Yes, that is so true. But also, you may never know the impact that you have had on someone that you've handed a pair of socks to, and a toothbrush to be able to brush their teeth, to be able to wash their body, to be able to keep their feet warm, to have a snack. Maybe they were just waiting on something to eat. So my hat is off to you. I thank God that you're using your gift, and you can definitely tell that it is something that you're passionate about, which is something else that you're helping people that are listening. If you are feeling, as Korey's sharing his gift and what he's passionate about, if you're feeling that, go for it. Use it. I'm going to ask you super quick. Who is Korey Wilkerson today?
Well, I'm the best dad that I can be, and I'm just the best person that I can possibly be right now with the tools that I have that I'm working with. But I'm still constantly striving to be a better person each day.
You are. You're a good man, and it's been a privilege getting to chat with you. Hey,
Thanks,
guys,
everybody.
Don't forget, go look in the comments. I'm going to attach all of those links and help us out. Share that Facebook page. Y'all have a good night.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County. Joco Community Radio.
Here's important new information